But first, let's talk about that preseason game. Let's get it out of the way because we should mention it. All right, so tonight, if you're looking to bet on something, you can bet on the preseason, as you always can. I believe the line on this game is now 4.5. Cincinnati, 4.5-point favorites last I checked. Maybe I will check it again, but this line has been steadily rising. I think it was 3.5 last night. Now it's 4.5 in some shops. So we know the starters for the Bengals are going to be playing, and we know they have a great offense. Obviously, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. That defense, not so much. Trey Hendrickson is now shopping trade deals. And then for the Commanders, we're supposed to see Jaden Daniels and company. Of course, we won't see Terry McLaurin, but the total on this one, 43.5. I thought for a quick second, Chris Mack, that maybe I would be a super square and bet on a total in this game. Like, oh, the over should hit, right? But it feels almost too obvious, right?
Yeah, I didn't go back and look at this weekend's totals and where the scores ended up, but we had that trend towards the overs through the first full week of the preseason, and this would seem to be a spot that screams over again. You mentioned the Bengals defense and both starting quarterbacks playing a good bit, we would think. It sounds like maybe Burrow might play a little bit more than Chase, depending on how things shake out and how the first drive or two look for each team. I think 15 plays on offense in week one of the preseason for the Bengals. I'm not sure if they'll dial that back or if Zach Taylor is still on this, play him as much as possible in the preseason thing that he's on this year. But all of that would seem to scream over. Plus, you got the Bengals rolling in Noah Fant for the first time. They continue to explore all the skill position options, forgetting that they have a guy on the defensive side of the ball that they should probably sign to a contract rather than trade, but we went over that already. So, yeah, there is the super square angle of taking the over, and I don't totally hate it. But other than that, I think this is one of those games. What's it start at 8 o'clock? I think it is. You turn it on at 8 o'clock. You watch the first couple series for each team on offense like you would any other preseason game. And then unless you're related to one of the people who's third on the depth chart trying to make a spot on the 53-man roster for either team, you turn it off because that's really the most interest we have in a preseason game is let me see the starters and see what they look like, and then let me get out.
Yeah, it's the same deal as all these preseason games where you want to watch a little bit of the first half, kind of see the starters to get like that old feeling of watching the NFL. Like when somebody completes, a big pass down the field, like it's a great feeling. It's worth tuning in. I did misspeak about the line in this game. So it is 3.5 over at BetMGM. The best number you can get if you are interested in the Bengals is 3. There is a 3 out there. But if you do like the Commanders, go ahead and stick with that 3.5 because you will want that hook if you're interested in betting on that. Do you think this line is right where the Bengals are favored? Honestly, like I'm not into really picking sides in preseason games, but I don't know. I don't think I even have a say on it.
I think it depends how much the starters are going to play in this one. And again, the feeling is that the Bengals offensive starters may play more. And then after that, how much are we going to see the backups involved? And what do you think of the backups? Like Jake Browning, okay, pretty serviceable backup quarterback. Same with Mariota. How much are they going to play? And then you really start to get down the list. Like talking about Desmond Ridder as the third string quarterback. And I think it's Josh Johnson or Sam Hartman for Washington. So if you that may lean really more into the over as well. I mean, when you talk about second and third string quarterbacks who have some starting experience, okay, maybe then we're talking about guys who are ready to pick apart second and third team defenses in the second and third quarter of a preseason game. So again, I don't know about the total because I'm not staying up till 11:15 on a Monday night to see if I cash 3.5 on somebody, kicking a last-second field goal or something. But again, the over, okay. I think, again, you could talk me into that square angle of over 43 on this one just because of the experience level of most of the quarterbacks that we're going to see play, I think.
And plus, I feel like I don't want to say there's ever urgency in a preseason game, but if there's ever a team that needs to get their stuff in line before the season starts, it is the Bengals. Because we know that they have been plagued by tough starts of the season. So maybe this is why they're letting their starters go a little bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure that they have all of their, horses in line. Not that Joe Burrow needs any of the extra work, but just saying, maybe get a couple touchdowns from Joe Burrow. And then Jake Browning, we've seen him in the regular season when Joe Burrow is hurt, and he has worked that offense pretty well. And then the defense, if the defense wasn't good with the starters, one would think that the second, wave of the defense is not going to be very good either for the Bengals.
Quick note from Denton in the chat, too. He pointed out Mariota's not supposed to play for the Commanders tonight. So that may lean back into Bengals laying the 3.5, depending on what you're interested in or where you can get it or what the best price is. Because if you go from Jaden Daniels for a series or two and then all of a sudden drop off to, like I said, Josh Johnson, Sam Hartman, okay, I'm probably leaning more towards the team with the more experienced backups than in Browning and Ritter on the Cincy side.
Yeah, and going back to that total, I feel like we've seen some teams post pretty high scores in some of these games. Like maybe not both sides of the coin, but we've had several teams score more than 30 points. We saw the Bears post a 38 spot against the Bills. We saw the Ravens score 31 against the Cowboys. Broncos scored 27. Giants scored 31 against the Jets. So I do think the total, if you're looking at one, maybe look at the over. Maybe it's a little square, but I do feel like, I'm not playing an under. I'm certainly not sweating an under in a preseason game. I draw the line there. I won't be doing that.